Always, the harm is 100% the fault of the perpetrator, 100% the fault. And just because you learn these skills doesn't mean, someone says you should, you have any obligation to use them. It's up to you to decide.
Hey everybody, I'm Lori Schulweiss.
And I'm Jen Giamo.
And welcome to another episode of Everybody Talks, the podcast where we explore the wide world of wellness. Sometimes we talk to experts, sometimes we talk to each other, but we're always talking to you.
Every week, we discuss topics from nutrition and exercise to mindfulness and self-care. And today we are talking to an accomplished martial artist with nearly 3 decades of experience in more than 10 different disciplines, including Taekwondo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and so much more. As a personal safety expert, executive health coach, attorney, and faculty lecturer of personal defense at San Francisco State University, she offers timely insights and actionable tips anyone can use to build strength, confidence, and resilience, empowering them to be more proactive about their own safety.
She is the founder of Power Up Moves, a personal development program designed to improve safety habits, resulting in strength, self-efficacy, and confidence. And she's here to tell us all about it. You don't want to miss this. Please welcome our guest today, Stephanie Cyr. Stephanie, welcome to Everybody Talks.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you
here. This is a topic we have not touched on yet in this podcast, so we're really excited. I think we have a lot to learn in this area.
I think so too, and especially as like two city dwellers in New York City, which I feel like has a changing canvas by the day. It's good to hear about these kinds of things and taking care of your own safety. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into this, and what set you down the path to this to Power Up?
Okay, great. Thank you. This was not the life plan to become a self-defense trainer. I started it actually started in grad school, really and truly. I'm in law school. It's stressful. I'm a physical person. I mean, I don't know it yet, but I'm just in my body all the time. So I see a martial arts class. I start taking it at night. Very fortunate to have a just kick-ass instructor, for lack of better words. He's phenomenal. Made me start sparring immediately. So at night, I'm defending myself against other people and learning control techniques. And then a day, I'm in class, using my voice. This goes to internships. And it's just important to say, I didn't even realize it for myself. I started a legal internship. I thought I was on my track. I knew exactly what I was going to do. Thanks to the Me Too movement. You know what? I was experiencing harassment. I experienced sexual assault. I had the moment of the superior close the door. Yes, I've only spoken about this twice. Close the door, sit down next to me, put a file across both our laps, and put his hand right on me. And not knowing anything, just that survival instinct, I am worth it and you are not touching me. I, without saying a word, leapt up, walked out of that room, and then expected to be fired. And I just went back to my desk. And this is a different time and place. Didn't tell anyone because I was ashamed. And it was actually better at the end of the summer. I was offered a job. And now in hindsight, I can be very cynical and say, they wanted to keep an eye on me, huh? And I didn't take it. And it was better to go back to law school and have everyone think I didn't get the internship than to tell them what really happened. That's one of the reasons I do what I do today. That should never happen again. I admire the powerful women who start speaking up in Me Too. So that's going on in my life. I'm still not getting it. I'm still not making the connection. At night, I'm in the ring and using my body physically and thinking self-defense is all about the physical. And I became a practicing attorney, loved practicing law. It took going through different stages of life. I ended up in San Francisco. I'm a New Yorker. California was exotic, totally exotic. I could tell you stories about defending myself in New York streets. And California, I end up with a gaggle of kids. I'm not going to practice law at the time, but I always kept up my martial arts, and I started assisting at the university. And it took, and coaching, and officiating and competing in Taekwondo specifically, but also other martial arts. And it took a student, it still wasn't me, it took a student to pull me aside and say, hey, what the Grandmaster is teaching, that didn't keep me safe last weekend. I got beat up. What do I do? And I sat for a moment with him. And to this day, I will say this to my students: if I don't have the answer, I'll tell you I don't have it, but I'll go find it. So I said, okay, I'll just call him Gabe. I'm going to start researching this. And it was that student. I started doing my research. We started talking about mental, verbal strategies, how you present yourself in the world, how you use your body in ways other than striking back. No one wants to get involved in an altercation. It's fun and games to say, oh, it's totally badass, I took someone out. Let me tell you, in real life, you don't want to touch that person. You want to get away and get safe as soon as possible. So I just quietly on the side, no disrespect to the Grandmaster, start working on other strategies with students. Department chair sees it, asked me to take over the class. What I discovered, what I was researching, is what's called feminist self-defense, because it came out of the feminist movement. It was women saying, this physical self-defense isn't working for me, or it's not all there is. I'm really good with my voice. There's other ways to defend ourselves. So just to be clear, this has been researched and practiced quietly. It's a building movement for decades. And more than ever now, it's luckily there's all these researchers out there. I get to practice it, talk about it. I mad respect for the researchers who've been studying it for over 30 years. And it's been found not only to reduce incidents of physical harm, but also to build confidence, self-esteem with the folks who practice it, and change the way you walk in the world. So there's a worldwide network of us. It's become a movement. And more than ever, I'm on the campus teaching it, and it's still not getting out. People still aren't talking about it. So first of all, I take all my notes that I'm teaching my own students, and I'm very excited. I have a textbook that's first edition's coming out in the fall. It's interactive. It's game playing. It's really getting to know yourself and this form of empowerment-based self-defense. And then I felt we still need to get it on campuses. So it took 3.5 years, but we now have an accredited minor in empowerment self-defense.
Wow.
Thank you. I'm so excited about it.
That's amazing.
It's on the San Francisco State University campus. I'm just expected to take off on other campuses, but I'm not doing this alone. Like I said, I feel like I have all these women and some men standing behind me as I do this. So it just evolved with the people I was meeting, the students I was meeting, me having the aha moment with this one student of, holy cow, I never spoke up. When I was working and they touched me, I didn't speak up. I removed their hand because I get physical fast. So we could talk about the power of grabbing a finger, but I didn't speak up. So for me, it took a lot to learn how to use my voice and speak up. So that's where I am. And I'm excited about it because it's not coming from a place of fear. I actually see joy. I actually see people just come into their own on the mat who maybe didn't think they were physical, who maybe didn't think they were verbal. And they really, to see them kind of come into their own, they empower themselves. It's never me empowering you. They empower themselves, and that's really important. And before I go on, love the name of your podcast, Everybody Talks.
Thank you.
I know.
First of all, listen to it. Second of all, that's what it's about. Listen to your body.
Yeah,
our bodies
definitely.
are talking to us. They can keep us safe. So.
All the time. All the time.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for that compliment.
Yeah. All right. So walk us through a scenario, because I'm not sure that I'm quite understanding, like when you're saying using your voice versus, I mean, I understand using your voice versus using your body. What does that look like? What is a scenario where you would use your voice first, or be that presence of, I guess, exuding a confidence or a level of I don't know what the word is, like you're not vulnerable,
Right.
I guess.
Okay. First of all, it depends on you.
Mm-hmm.
I would never say you should do this.
Okay.
Some of us are just better with our voices. You know, that person who has a snappy comeback,
Yeah.
that they can use their voice. It comes out naturally first. That was not me. I could use my body first. So you also just said it. You have to feel, so it's all about you. Are you comfortable in that moment using your voice? It can be setting a boundary with somebody. You know, hey, someone's asking you to do something. You can start slow and easy. I want to back up and say something else. Most assaults are by someone you know, whether
Yes.
it's an intimate or an acquaintance. We do have a lot more random acts of violence that are out there, and it's causing people, there's an uptick of people feeling unsafe, but it's still the people you know. So it's somebody, maybe friend of a friend, they're asking you to do something you're not comfortable with. That's when you could speak up and use your voice. Using your voice is using your body too, but so the body language goes hand in hand with it and being assertive. We do a lot of boundary setting. That's just uh, um, probably the first line of defense of using your voice. Hey, you call out the behavior, you tell someone how you wish to be treated. You repeat it. We always say you repeat it. Don't think it's going to happen immediately. And then you end it. You end it if they're not listening. And that exiting could be exiting a conversation, exiting a room, but you end it. So verbal skills are so important. And I'm glad we're starting with it because it is the most difficult skill for my students to learn. And when I start a class at the university, which will be starting next week, I start physical. It's a movement class anyway. It's very important to move, whatever your ability, just start moving your body. And then we build up to the voice. The voice is hard for people. Or another way, there's so many ways. Another way is calling out what you see. We could go to how you can help other people, calling out a description, telling people, I don't know this person. You know, you're harassed by someone. People don't want to get involved. They think you might know one another. I don't know this person. You tell them what to do. Call 911. You know, red cap, white shirt. Give a description. That's very important. I mean, by now we've probably a lot of people have read how witness perpetrator identification can be unreliable, except when the person being harmed calls out the description. People, bystanders remember that.
Huh.
And they can
Interesting.
repeat that back. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. So it's ways to use your voice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm thinking of so many different scenarios right now.
I
I mean, you
know.
started with, this workplace situation, and that's much different than being, attacked or assaulted on the street or something like that. I think that, I don't know, to me, I would have more difficulty verbalizing something to, if I were in your situation and that happened with a colleague, I would have more of a problem with that versus if I'm getting attacked on the street, I'm going to, scream my head off and do all sorts of things, which I
Right.
don't know if that's the right thing to do or not, but I'm going to be much more verbal than I
Yeah.
would be in more of an intimate situation,
I
right?
think that's true.
Thank you for saying that. That's universally true of everyone. And by the way, scream your head off, draw attention. Anyone who's trying to attack, they're looking for the fastest, quietest way to get what they want. So make a scene. That's a very big deal. But I'd love to talk about workplace. I mean, I get called into organizations all the time, and they will call in saying, and this is important to street safety lately. After COVID, having people come back into the office, people weren't feeling comfortable, basically talking about commute, and always it came up issues with colleagues, issues with bosses, issues with customers interfacing. It's almost like after COVID, we kind of, as a whole, lost our social skills.
100%. 100%.
I mean,
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, from my
Yes.
perspective, the bonus was 6 feet apart. Great, because
I
distance
know.
matters.
Distance matters. Yeah.
That's very
Right.
funny.
That matters, and that's important when you're
Yeah.
on that street and a random person. But in the workplace, that is the hardest place to speak up. they found extremely helpful is to start having a plan. Have a plan now when everything's great, when everything's fine, when you're not feeling something has you uncomfortable. Think what my story from way back. I sat at my desk and I knew I could not go to HR. And I knew I could not. I knew they wouldn't support me. This guy was a superstar. No one was going to listen to the intern. I knew that. In my gut, you listen to yourself. But think about it now, wherever you are in your workplace, anyone listening, can you go to HR? Make a note now of what you would do. What would the steps be you would take? If you can't go to HR, is there someone in the office you trust to talk about it? It's very powerful if you have someone in the same environment you trust, you could talk about it. If you don't, just document it. Just make note of a pattern. It's taking control of the situation. We get fearful, we get angry when we have a loss of control. This is one of the ways you take back control. So keeping that record is very important, and then you can start to see patterns occur. I'm not crazy. They're not letting me speak up. They're disregarding my thoughts in a meeting. This has happened consistently. And then you have that evidence to present to someone, and you present it, use your voice how you see fit. For some people, it's direct. I want to see you. I want to make eye-to-eye contact and stand in front of you. I want to read your body language. A lot of people want the wall of an email.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
true. Very true.
And it's all good. It's what works for you.
Yeah. And I would think, this is happening to women much, much more than it's happening to men. I'm sure there's both, but, what is the percentage there of women versus men that experience this?
Oh, it's overwhelmingly
Yeah.
female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's overwhelmingly female. I personally feel amongst my colleagues, it's just not only me, there won't be change in the culture unless we all shift together.
Right.
And so I will always say, yes, male identifying folks do get hurt too. Yes, they can be allies. Yes, the same could be said as female, but come on, people. Come on, people.
Yeah.
This has been going
Definitely.
on. It's overwhelmingly female. So a key thing about workplace and home where there can be a threat is finding that ally, that trusted person you can talk to, build community. I want to say if you're in that situation where right now it's too dangerous, you're too scared, you feel alone, no one else can get inside your head. This is very important. You, in your mind, formulate your plan. Okay, in your mind, visualize how you will get out, and you will have that ready when the opportunity presents. It's very important for some folks who feel they're in a situation they can't get out of right now. Otherwise, let's back to the workplace. Something that's become more and more clear to me and is very powerful is think of it as your community. You don't have to like everyone in your community. You don't have to be best friends with everyone in your community. But if you see somebody being treated a way that you would not wish to be treated, that is not right, okay, speak up.
Speak up.
Use your voice that way. And if you're too, speak up can mean many things. You can just go stand next to them. You can just tell them, hey, that wasn't okay. What just happened in the meeting? So-and-so it wasn't listening to your thoughts. I heard you.
Yeah.
You could send the email. You could say something directly in the moment. Some people feel we're all different communicators. It's wonderful to have that mix. Somebody might just speak up right in the moment.
Yeah.
Support one another.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you're talking about whether it's like injustices or actual, verbal abuse or sexual abuse, all of those things. There's sort of like, there's something that you can do in any of those situations. And what does that look like? I mean, like you mentioned the Me Too movement, and I think that you tell me, but I feel like that has really empowered women a lot more to speak up. But of course, there are those situations where you don't feel comfortable doing it, or you feel like your job is in jeopardy and things like that. So what does that look like?
I think it absolutely has empowered women to speak up. I think it's really important. I can't emphasize enough. It's up to you when and how you would speak up. You must listen to yourself. If you do not feel safe right now saying something, like I said, keep a record for yourself, which is just the power of literally, I'm going with my hand to write it down. I'm old fashioned. Type it down, put it down. However you document,
Yes.
do it for yourself. It's up to you to decide how you wish, when and how you will act in that moment. And now I got off. Can you tell me what else you asked me?
No, I was just saying, like, in different situations,
Yeah.
how does it differ? You know, I think,
Yes.
you know,
Okay.
abuse is much more serious, I guess, if you feel like you're in danger, you feel threatened, versus, you know, you just don't feel like your ideas are being heard in a meeting, or you're, you know, things like that are still offensive, but different.
Oh, gosh. Okay. And your idea is not being heard in a meeting is offensive. It's also financial harm, because in the long run, you might get passed over for a promotion.
Right.
You don't get chosen to be on a team or a special project because they're disregarding you and your thoughts. So it is harm. I just want to be clear about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
It really depends on the type of harm, and traditionally it is much harder for people. It depends who is causing the harm. An intimate is the hardest person to speak up or against, or to put a halt to the harm. As much as I like to remind people, they're hurting too, they're hurting you. By speaking up, you can help them too, because sometimes we need to hear that to take action. They say most of the time, we will take action to help somebody else more than we will ourselves. It is very difficult. That's why it could be baby steps to put a halt to certain assault, sexual assault. But I would like to share just a strategy that a student shared years ago that always makes my class gasp. It worked, though. She was in a social situation. There was a party going on in the other room. She knew the person who pulled her. She was inebriated, pulled her into a bedroom. He was on top of her. He was sexually assaulting her. She said her words, she doesn't know where it came from, but it came out. She shouted in his face, "You are raping me."
Wow.
Yes. Talk about taking control in the situation. He leapt off her, ran out of there. She said she stayed in that room for a minute, ready for it. She's like, you know what? I'll walk out and I'll be, called immediately. What do we think, right? It's on us. Like, we should feel
Yeah, of course,
ashamed,
of course.
or we're going to be called names. Never was a word said. She did what is so helpful for everyone else. You have to do what's right for you, but it's important for recovery to share it. So she shared with all her friends quietly. You do it how it works for you. She didn't broadcast it, but she shared. They all knew what this person had done to her. That's helps you recover as much as it helps everyone you're sharing with. And if you don't have someone to share with immediately for recovery, you go once again, write it down, talk it out, call your mom, call someone you trust.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of do that. We know to do that without realizing these are safety measures. You need to let it go. Our bodies hold it.
Right.
They hold that tension. They hold that trauma. I've had people in class who didn't speak up during an assault. One person really stands out to me, a powerhouse in the classroom, doing the physical moves, could take the guys down. Suddenly she jumped up and ran out of the room. And she later shared with me, she realized she had been assaulted in high school. They kind of gaslit her. They told her, it was your fault.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. And then last day of class, she brought her parents in outside the classroom. Class ends and they came in to talk to me. It was probably one of the most powerful moments for me.
Wow.
Now, Stephanie, in that situation that you just described, do you think that the perpetrator of that assault, do you think that by hearing that word and by hearing her, that really kind of like lit something up in him to say, oh my God, this is what I'm doing? Like,
exactly. So we work on de-escalation, and we always talk about flipping the switch.
Right.
So people, they get in their emotional side and you want to bring them back to rational. in the best possible take on it. He didn't realize it wasn't consensual till she
Wow.
said that.
Wow.
Best possible take. And that is true. A lot of people think, oh, this is sexy, that you're resisting, or no, it's not. And that's a line I use with my students, even talking to high schoolers. Consent is
Right.
sexy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, so
Right.
that's, you could sit and think about that for a minute, but that's boundary setting to the extreme. You tell them what's happening, because sometimes they don't know. I'll use myself as an example. Once again, I'm one of those people. I used to be a big hugger, or I touch your arm. Hey, don't touch my arm. Oh, I didn't even realize I was doing it. Okay, I'm embarrassed, my bad, but you told me, and now I
Right.
jump back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Pointing it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just going back to what you said made me think about, speaking up, right? And I think about domestic violence cases, and you always hear, women they're so afraid to, forget saying something, but they're afraid to leave. They're afraid to get, how would you, and this is probably more complex than I'm making it sound right now, but like, how do you build up someone's confidence in a situation like that to be able to exit that situation and really like take care of yourself?
So many people flash through my mind. First of all, that they're feeling ashamed, perhaps. They don't want to talk about it. It's reading people in the room. You can share your story with me or not. It doesn't matter. I take you as you stand before me, and I can picture some standing before me. If they're fortunate enough to say, I'm on campus, if they were allowed to actually exit the house with this other person controlling, I've had people stand in the hallway waiting for someone to come out of the room. Just talk about your mental strength, building your mental strength, how no one can get inside your head. I could say that once, maybe they get it. It doesn't always happen. It's just building their confidence in themselves by having them try on different moves and know that, okay, they're being held. Almost always the number one signal is someone takes away all the control over money, over the finances. So you can't get out. There might be a child involved. So now you can't get out. People use animals. They use the dogs and cats to hold somebody, so you can't get out. So it starts, as I start with all the students, but it starts with, hey, let's focus on your strengths. Let's focus on a vision. I have on my website the line, just to get people thinking, what could you do if fear didn't hold you back? I want them to start thinking what they could do, have a future vision, start building the plan in their head. And this is all has been shown specifically with domestic violence survivors. It helped with recovery. It helped them take back control, know that they had a plan in their head. We'll start talking about, is there anyone you can talk to? If I'm fortunate enough to have them in my class, I watch friendships evolve. Is there anyone you can talk to? I'm a mandated reporter. So my students are very clever. They don't tell me it is happening, but we have a fantastic counseling office where it's private. So I will keep suggesting that and bring in examples of numbers they can call, but that can be dangerous too. Let's just be
Sure.
clear.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And if I didn't say it before, because I don't think I did, always the harm is 100% the fault of the perpetrator, 100% the fault. And just because you learn these skills doesn't mean, someone says you have any obligation to use them. It's up to you to decide. Just going back to what you asked me about when to use your voice, you decide when you feel safe and how you would use these skills to get safe. But I was just, little aside here, last night, I'll see something on the news. I saw an issue in my area with domestic violence survivors, and there's not enough resources. And this goes to your question. I'm reaching out and saying, hey, I will just come in. I volunteer to hold a movement class. I'll hold pads and I'll teach them how to strike them, because it is the best release of stress, tension. And I know they start to feel strong. And I know they start to realize how they can move their bodies. And it's a powerful thing. So I'll be doing that later today, reaching out.
Wow.
Yeah. talk to us a little bit about power up moves. Like, what are some of the principles of that, and how does that work when people come into a class like that?
So it's all empowerment, self-defense, which is evidence-based, and to me that's very important. So anything I teach, I have researched. I have researched it, but there's researchers who have shown that it does provide benefits because it's all can be good, but there's a lot of practitioners that are just physical, and it's very important to teach people the mental, verbal, emotional regulation, become more self-aware of your adrenalized response in a moment of stress. And that's whether, I've got a deadline, or this person's about to hit me. So it's very important to get to know yourself. So power up moves is anything you think, say, do, believe, or to keep yourself safe. And that usually takes a while to sink in with people. They're like, okay, that's great. You show me how to hit someone. No. But in general, you say, book a power up moves class. I will ask you, it can be private, it can be one on one for sure, but gather a group. And that's to get people starting to think about what their community is. So it doesn't have to be your besties. It could be the people you work with. It could be, in school, what's one of your clubs, and let's get moving. And it's always easier for people to start with movement. So it's a movement course. And I watch how people move. We play games, we play spacing games, literally start off by throwing a ball. These things matter. It's your reflexive reaction. How would you react if a strike was coming at you? Catch that ball. We all want to block our face, and ease them into it. Before they know it, they're moving. We're talking about personal space, using their body in perhaps ways they never did. And then it winds down into discussion. And the more people warm up their bodies, minds, get comfortable with one another, you get to know how comfortable you are with someone if you're going to be holding a pad and letting them strike at you, or we build trust. So the more physical we get, that's farther down the road in the class. And it depends on the class. I have some classes we can do 2-on-1 assaults because there's enough trust in the group. We do takedowns to the ground. You don't want to get put on the ground for sure. And how do you get up as quickly and safely as possible? So that's power up moves. It's a lot of people bring me in for fun. Women's self-defense, it's hit a pad, and then it goes a lot deeper than that. And then I'm brought back by HR because guess what? We're changing the workplace culture. It really, people are so fearful of what they don't know. And it's kind of building community and communication amongst people who are spending a lot of time together.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you're doing this, only because in the world, like, you don't hear people doing this so often. It's such a foreign, it's like almost foreign.
Yeah.
Like, to think that you're taking care of yourself even if you're in a workplace that is very friendly, non-threatening, it's just to be aware of these things in the corporate culture. It's just really opening my eyes. This whole conversation is kind of opening my eyes to that, I think.
Well, I think it spans so many different areas. Like, as you're talking, I'm thinking about so many different scenarios of people I know or situations that I've been in. And I think that being armed with this knowledge and these skills, even if you never use it, just having that knowledge, right? That you, it's like when I travel, if I know I have my Xanax, I'm good. Even if I never take it, it's
totally like just to be prepared. I mean,
be prepared.
Right.
I'm just excited you said that because that's such a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And the more people own it in their bodies, the more they feel less likely but you are to ever use the physical aspect of it. You carry yourself differently. Our bodies communicate more than our words. And suddenly you're not the target, for lack of a better word. You walk into the meeting a little differently. And I so appreciate you say this is just good for when it's really important when things are great, when you're in a good environment.
Yeah.
Just being more aware makes a huge difference. This brings, to me, it adds possibility. My word is joy. It brings joy. And once again, thank you for having me on, because that's where this is right now for me. I have my head down, I'm doing my work with the people in front of me, and it literally is someone else banging me over the head saying, you need to share this.
I wanted to
Yeah.
kind of talk about, this sense of awareness and how you carry yourself. And we live here in New York City. You live in a big city. Are there like certain tips and things that you could give us where, like, I remember as a kid, my mom would say like, "Oh, put your backpack on the front, like no one can attack you or steal your stuff if it's in the front of you. Like, pay attention to your surroundings." I mean, all those obvious things,
My
But-
dad's like wisest words to all of us are keep your wits about you. Like he would wherever when he dropped us at college, when he dropped us at somewhere new, or we were leaving for a trip, it was always that was what he said. Keep your wits about you. And when you actually think of what that means, it means to be aware of your surroundings and just keep an eye out. But yeah.
Did you
What?
carry that with you into adulthood?
Yes,
'Cause
I
sometimes I feel like she walks around and she's
I'm
like
very oblivious.
oblivious
I'm
to
very
everything going on.
I
around
am
her.
very oblivious.
But I guess
Yeah.
so. My question is that, and also just in this current environment that we are living in, and that we see on a unfortunately a regular basis in this city, is these random acts of violence, people getting pushed on the subway tracks, things that are unexpected, unprovoked. How do you, present yourself in a way that you're not a target for those things, or you're not vulnerable to?
I actually want to piggyback onto, and part of that question is also it's created a fear in me that I never had before. And so, like when I take the subway, I'm all of a sudden fearful when I really never was. So it kind of goes hand in hand, like how you present yourself and how you're feeling. I think.
That's correct, and you're not alone. There was just a Gallup poll that came out. There's been an uptick in fear in women and men because of these random acts of violence. We don't know when they are coming or how to expect them. So now the words are keep your wits about you, be mindful, be in the present, be aware of your surroundings. And being aware of your surroundings, you see a theme to this. Number one, like if I had to just give you a couple tips right now, number one,
Great.
when you walk into a space, know how you would exit it. What is the most efficient, safe? Seriously, efficient.
You do that anyway.
I do that all the time.
She does that all anyway.
Hyper vigilant to that.
She's very hyper vigilant. And I know that
Excellent.
if I'm with her, I'll know how to get out because she already does.
Well, what if someone knocks her on the head and now you're alone? You
I
need to
know that.
how to get
I
out.
need to know it.
You're in trouble.
I am.
You need to know. Well, that's great, because really and truly, and that goes back again to you have a plan. So people who have been in very stressful hostage situations have said they had that plan. They knew as soon as the opportunity came, they had that exit with no obstacles in the way to safety. They knew what was on the other side of that one particular door or that place. So right now, when everything's fine, you go down in the subway platform, know how you would exit. Is it right back up the stairs? Is there another way out? Know what, if you have your regular commute, know what's normal. And it's not just sight, it's sounds, it's scent. People have smelled a fire before they've seen it. It's being very aware of the energy in that space. And if anything feels off, you exit that area as fast as possible. And that's not easy. I mean, I have stories of people telling me they said, I can't do that. I'll be late for work. I could get fired. Guess what? There's ways to deal with that. You go into work, you tell them what happened, you take it to HR if you have to. But truly, because people don't want to, they're worried about that. So it's a scan of your environment. It's being aware of where you are in that space. So unfortunately, I think we all know from the stories alone, you're not going to stand right at the edge of the subway platform. Always try and stand back with your back against a wall or an object where no one can come behind you. A lot of attacks come from behind. So you want to make sure you can see the whole area in front of you to be safe. Be aware of when you walk out now today and you go on the street, you're scanning not only your environment, the people in your environment. If you're walking down that street, and I've had this in Manhattan, and you suddenly notice somebody switching so that they could be walking directly towards you.
Yes. Yes.
You suddenly pick up on a change of direction.
Yes.
Don't disregard it. A lot of people, they get fearful. Oh, I don't want to deal with it. No, focus on it. If anything, switch yourself again and watch them. Are their eyes on you? Do they switch with you? It's a classic move to align themselves with you, bump into you, and they've pickpocketed you. They've taken something from you already. So watch other people's behavior. And if you're feeling that and it feels very dangerous, I've done this in Manhattan. I've had friends do this in Manhattan. You walk out into the street, you have a parked car, you have a large object between you and the threat. Okay. There's nothing, as a matter of fact, be aware if you ever see someone do that, they're alerted to something that is making them uncomfortable in that area. So it's very important to be aware of your surroundings, how you would exit, be aware of the people, be aware of the objects. So I just already went to that with the parked car, but be aware of objects you could use to
Right.
defend yourself.
Right.
Okay, that's important. It takes too long to pull that dedicated pepper spray out of your pocketbook.
Yes.
You can tell me you have it in your hand. So number one, you have it in your hand. If anyone sees it, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You could fight back. I have a classic story from New York of an NYU student whose parents bought her pepper spray. She was feeling threatened by someone in the neighborhood. It was in the New York Post. He got written up. He was threatening, he was following students around a certain neighborhood near NYU. So she had her pepper spray, she had pulled it out, she turned, she sprayed it. It doesn't work on everyone. 9 times out of 10, if you hold something out, it's going to be grabbed from you and used on you.
Wow.
So I used to go be part of a team that would go into the police academy and train. And always they talked about how they would tell civilians, if you're going to have some kind of dedicated weapon, try it out on yourself first, i.e. taser, pepper spray, knife, because it's most of the time it's going to get taken from you. This person has targeted you. They're hopped up. They're energized. Their adrenaline's going. You point that at them. I can't tell you how many times I've heard of it being taken and used, or actually hit in the head with the pepper spray. So you can react faster with your mind, your voice, your body.
Okay. That's good to know.
I want to ask you something. Something happened to me not that long ago, but within the past year, I was going to say I go to the Central Park every morning with my dog, and we're walking down. It's like a Saturday or Sunday morning. It's about 8:00 in the morning, and I'm walking down East 84th Street, a street I go on every single day. And there's a man walking towards me. I do not register any threat from him at all. And I feel pretty safe because I have a big 60-pound dog with me who I know will bark his head off. I don't know that he'll attack anyone, but he'll definitely scare people away. But all of a sudden, this guy, as I'm passing, he leans in so close that he like sniffs. I hear like him sniff into my shoulder. And then it threw me, so I'm shaking all over. And then he walked on, and then he started yelling at me from after we passed, like it was my fault that I had bumped into him. Now I switched sides. I kind of did the after the fact. I like switched sides. I went, and then, but I was shaken up because it caught me so off guard because I had not registered any threat from him as he was coming towards me. And so, is it right? Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was like so taken aback. Like, he just moved on and he started to get verbally like abusive to me and turned around. And I think he like yelled obscenities in my direction. I just kept walking and finally he was like out of range. But so that's something that like I didn't even register that as a threat. And he was walking towards me. He looked like a regular guy with groceries just walking towards me.
Right.
And
it's interesting your dog didn't register it.
At all. Right. Like there was nothing. There was nothing. There was really nothing. And I think that's what threw me so much is like, wow, I'm kind of like a savvy. I think I'm pretty savvy, but Jen's probably right. I'm pretty oblivious when I walk down the street. And so
we all have our all have our moments.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you said that that's more common than people talk about. No one's talking about. People do the sniffing. People
Yeah.
come up behind and sniff hair. They're invading your personal space.
Yeah.
So that goes to your space. And that's just becoming more aware. Someone starts leaning in, even slow motion. Hey, just back up. Hey, put space between you. Getting a little physical here. You're walking your dog. I don't know if you have a bag, but hands
Mm,
up here, not down.
Not like this.
not like that. No, I wasn't. I really don't. I really don't walk around like that. But yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you what you shouldn't do
Yeah.
because that doesn't work. And let me tell you, I've walked around with my phone out. I've come right out of a class like I think I'm going to get a break, right?
Yeah.
I want to check my messages. Whoop, I have to take a moment and say, put it away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
Or I would tell you the other one is I almost in the mornings I always have a cup of coffee. That is a great weapon, better
That
than
is a
pepper
great weapon.
spray.
Hot coffee. Hot coffee.
Hot coffee. There's
Yeah.
a great case of a middle school student. It was an Sunday evening. She's with a group of friends, so that's another falsity. You feel you're okay, you're secure if you're with a group. No, you must just stay aware. So this is like, once again, not to be fearful, but just be aware. So she's with a group of friends this at a 7-Eleven. They all got drinks. She got coffee. He reaches in, grabs her with all her friends right there, and picks her up to take her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm very pleased to say, on national TV shares that her father taught her some self-defense. So she starts to kick him and she takes the coffee and she throws it in his face. This is so powerful. Throw that coffee in someone's face. I have a student who took an ice drink, a big Slurpee with the ice, threw it in somebody's face. He dropped her. It's a reaction. You take away his sight, you hurt him, and he ran. Hours later, the cops caught him because guess what? He didn't change his shirt. He had coffee.
No one said criminals. No one said criminals are smart. They're definitely dumb.
He had coffee
Yeah.
all over him. But I want to go back to whatever you had in your hands, maybe you had nothing in your hands. You're walking your dog,
Right.
your hands are up here. And it can take practice. It's somebody comes into your personal space. Suddenly those hands come up. These are protection. This looks passive. This looks submissive. This looks, some people see this as caring. My hands are ready to go.
Right.
I'm ready to block you from touching me. And
Yes.
I could strike you. I could control you if you control me. It's just getting in that habit of, he just went right into your personal space. And almost when you do it slowly,
Yes.
you can get in. Pastor, he's testing you, and then the shouting at you. That's harm. He's shouting at you. You did one of the best things you could do. You kept going. You kept going. I twice in Manhattan. One was a very well-dressed woman. It's a really crowded street. It's around 536. Walking uptown, Fifth Avenue. I've got a lot of things on my mind. I'm marching. I walk with purpose. Even if you're lost, walk with purpose. And this woman coming towards me right when she's alongside me suddenly leaps in my face like she wants to scratch my eyes out. And without thinking, I turned, knocked her hands away, and kept going. Yeah, I said something, I shouted something too, but I kept going and left her. I'm not giving her my time or space. He went to see how close he could get to you. This is what predators do. And then he started shouting things at you. You don't engage. You did. It was great what you did.
Yeah.
But then also talk about it, because you got to let it go. Like you said, you get shaky.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
You get totally shaky. That's your body letting it go.
Yeah.
That's such a good point, Stephanie. Like, that's such a good, I think, because, I do not do this anymore. But I used to have the tendency to mouth off. I would say
Yes, you
something.
definitely
I
have
like
that
make
in
a
you.
flippant. I have that in me.
Yes.
And, my boyfriend has really ingrained this in me. He's like, do not engage, do not make eye contact, do not say anything. He's like, even if you and I are together and someone does something that you think is, shut your mouth. Just keep your mouth shut.
Because I don't want to take him on.
Yeah. And
Yes.
but
Yes.
it's so
It's so
hard.
hard.
It's so
It's
hard.
so hard. I mean, recently I was in the park and I just saw some kids sitting on a bench, and this kid threw like a empty, like he was littering, and it like, that's my park. I love that park. And I said something to him, and the minute I did, I wanted to take it back. Like I
Mhm.
was like, what are you doing?
Yep.
Just
You
let it go. You
don't
just have to
know. You
keep
just
going.
don't
Yeah.
know.
Because you don't know what the results are.
You don't know what the results are. Couple things. Jen, that's your superpower, your voice. Kudos.
Is
You've
it?
got that.
Yes and no.
Okay. Your boyfriend made a great point, and I've heard this with groups of females out together, etc. You might be putting other people in harm's way. So that's to take in. So you know what I've done with myself at moments, kid you not, in my head, I give myself a timeout. I literally, I
Oh,
want to, I want to respond. I want to react, especially if I see what I think is a harm being done, even if it's littering. And I literally, and this has taken me a while because I tend to jump. I used to jump before
right.
looking. Seriously, I give myself in my head, I'm like, take a breath, saying this to
Right.
myself, time out. What's going to happen if you react? Like, think it through for a minute. And that helps me a lot because then even if I do respond, it's more thoughtful, in control of it more, and more at peace of what I've done instead of, hey, you, pick that up. We're a little bit on edge right now. I mean, let's just say it. It's a
Yeah.
little bit on edge.
Yes.
Things are a little unsteady. So not only you, but take a breath, and hopefully that other person will too. And that quite literally, if someone is yelling at you, I just talked to a young woman about this on the subway. Commuting every morning, she said, rush hour in New York, rush hour. I feel like it's the safest time, gets me to my place fastest. She's sitting there, and a man decides she's in his seat, and he stands right over her, telling her his words, he's going to pound her. So he's physically threatening her.
Wow. Wow.
It's a packed car. She said she
Wow.
didn't feel there was any way out. She felt like if she even tried to get up, he would take it as it's on and he could pound her.
Right.
She didn't make eye contact. Eye contact's an interesting thing. So she didn't make eye contact. And as soon as the car came to a stop and the doors opened, he took a step back and she was out. She knew her exit. She was out. She wasn't at her stop. She got out. She scurried down the platform really quickly and jumped on another car. One of the best things that happened is the doors closed and some people next to her said, are you okay? I saw that wasn't okay. They had moved with her.
Wow.
Wow. Isn't that cool? That's what we need. That's what we need.
Yeah,
and she was just sharing with me. It felt good. It felt good to have someone else see it. So if you had been on that sidewalk walking away from that guy and then someone else, like you get to the park corner, you don't even realize there was another person there and they're like, hey, are you okay?
Right.
That wasn't,
absolutely.
that guy was crazy yelling at you or something.
Yeah, you feel like more of a sense of protection when you.
Yeah, completely right.
Yeah.
And then I go off scampering a little off. She was breathing. So you breathe to calm yourself. The power of the breath, it's so important.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But what also happens, you're not responsible for them. A lot of times they start to mirror what you're doing. So you might actually start calming down that person in front of you. And she didn't do it because she did what was safe enough for her. So kudos, she got herself out safely. Sometimes just showing compassion or respect goes a long way, goes a heck of a long way. I worked with library workers last spring, and library workers are just superhuman beings. They might have taken that job thinking they were going to do one thing. They are the last public community resource. So they are dealing with all sorts of folks coming in, using the space for all sorts of reasons. And a lot of them were being threatened, finding these threatening situations. So we talked about body language because they couldn't just exit physically. They're behind the desk, say, and this person comes up agitated. They were taking a breath, and you could literally see in some videotapes the other person taking a breath, and then they just showed respect. How can I help you today? It sounds like, yeah, we all know that. Really saying that to someone, looking them in the eye, meaning it. So they know it's not sarcastic, which is that's important. If you know it would come out that way, it's really good self-awareness. Maybe just take a breath.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a form, that's a form of de-escalation right there, right?
That's what we're talking about. So this is
Yeah.
all the art of de-escalation. A really key one is offering some water or a chair. Showing care can flip the switch. This is all the art of de-escalation, which was usually just taught for professionals in security, law enforcement.
Sure.
But how about us? We can start learning how we communicate and how to communicate better with one another.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I see that a lot in airport workers, people that are constantly being abused because you're a traveler and you're pissed off because your flight was canceled or whatever the case is, and you're screaming at the person behind the counter. I think they are very good, at least from what I've seen, very good at de-escalating or just, making the situation or they just ignore you. And
moving along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm chuckling because I totally agree with you. And in my very sophisticated lingo recently, I witnessed someone being really abusive to someone going to a security worker. And after the abusive person moved away a bit, I said to them, "You're a rock star." And I get that smile.
Yeah.
That's how you,
I know.
I always try to do that when I do see something like that happen.
Sure.
After that, person moves on, I acknowledge it to the person who was being abused. Like, wow, some people are crazy, you know, and that just, I think, makes them feel a little better in the situation, or at least it helps them to forget about it.
Yeah.
You're helping them recover.
Yes.
So it's better than my snarky comments.
Anyway, Stephanie, this has been like such an interesting, enlightening, different type of discussion for us. I know. I think it's like opened my eyes a little bit. Do you want to tell people where they can find you and other Power Up Move places, or they just look you up there? Or
they can look up Power Up Moves. I have a lot of people lately are looking me up at the university, San Francisco State University. You can find me. I'm out there. I really, this is, I feel very strongly about talking about this.
Yes.
And I used to just be pulled on, or someone would ask me to show a physical move. And like I said, we didn't even get to that. Because these are your first lines of defense. Like I said, you don't want to get physical. But sure, one day we could talk about elbows.
I was going to say that's going to be part two.
Part
we're going to come back and we're going to definitely, because I'd like to get in the ring with her. I'd like to.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
She's not kidding.
No, but I would like to learn some actual
I think
techniques,
so too.
right?
I was thinking when we were getting ready for this interview, my view of a self-defense class was from an I Love Lucy episode, from the 50s. And like of her like beating up this like person in like a dummy suit, which I'm like doing a reference that you don't even know. I'm showing my age.
I know.
Showing my age. But that's the thought of it. And so to know that there's like this kind of updated format that's very current and addresses things that we're going through now is an amazing thing. It's a great thing.
Yeah, because I think you do need the physical is important in certain situations.
And I think that
right?
helps with someone's confidence as well. Like if you know that you could take care of yourself,
Again, like being armed with it and maybe never using it, but just knowing that
knowing
you
you're
could.
able to.
Yeah.
Well, let's get physical next time, because you're
get physical next time for sure. Yeah, that sounds great.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Stephanie.
Oh, thank you. This is wonderful. I appreciate it.
All right.
Ready to fight me?
I'm ready to fight you. No. No, but I just think that is so, everything was so interesting that she was saying. I mean, like one thing led to another, but, I think that people who live in New York are more vigilant than those,
I think so.
that don't.
I think so. Yeah, for sure. But like, there's also, like you said, that fear, and you don't want to have that. That's like the last thing you want.
I never had that.
I never had
before.
it either. I never had it.
And
people would always say to me, like people that didn't live here would say, like, "Oh my God, you take the subways and it's scary." I'm like, no. And I was never afraid, ever. And now it's so different.
It is so different.
And
Even
I hope it changes.
What?
Hope it changes.
I do too. I mean, but it's nice to know, you really do have this antiquated view of what a self-defense class is.
Yeah.
And that you don't realize how that sign of self-defense extends to the workplace, your friends, your family, your just walking down the street. Like it's more than just being mugged
Yeah,
on the
yeah, yeah,
streets of New York,
absolutely. Yeah.
and protecting yourself. It's
Well, definitely
other
like
ways
the
too.
workplace stuff that she brought up,
Yeah.
and it's things that like where you not only not feeling safe, but just like standing up for yourself in the most basic way, you know?
Totally. And
So-
that even though we didn't talk about the physical aspects of it, that how your words, look, words matter. They do in all situations,
do.
but in protecting yourself, they matter too.
They really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was great. Power up moves. We got to
Amazing.
learn them.
Yes. So we hope you got a lot out of this one too. I'm Lori Schultz.
And I'm Jen Giamo.
And welcome. That was everybody. No, welcome. It's over.
And welcome.
That was Everybody Talks. Take care.
For more information about our podcast, to learn more about us, and to catch up on all of our episodes, go to our website at everybodytalkspodcast.com.
Follow us on Instagram at Shirley, at Jen Giamo, and at Everybody Talks. And if you want to watch today's episode, go to our YouTube channel at Everybody Talks Podcast.
Join the Everybody Talks community by checking out our Patreon page, where you can become an exclusive member of our wellness group and be a part of the conversation.
And don't forget, if you like what you've heard, give us a 5-star rating, write a review, and tell a friend. We're for everybody and everybody. The Everybody Talks podcast is co-created, executive produced, and hosted by us, Lori Schulweis and Jen Giamo. Produced and edited by Station 16.
Our theme song music is written and performed by Jackie Ryle and Aaron Navisi, with additional support from our pups, Oliver, Milo, and Murray.
Talk to you next time.